Welcome to the DeFi Standard, and this is Mickey B. Fresh. And today's episode is going to be on the walled garden, private ledgers, David Schwartz talking about PolySign, David Schwartz talking about Codius, and also David Schwartz putting his stamp of approval on the Flare network. And also, we have one other piece of information that I found last minute here, is the Forte Labs patent that was just released recently. So we're going to really dive into that a little briefly, and all these video clips that Tony from ThinkingCrypto did an interview with David Schwartz, and we're going to break those down and what they mean, and we're also going to disclose some information about Codius regarding Ripple and RippleNet. So let's get right into it. Okay, so on to Twitter here. Now, Forte Labs patent teaser, a system for authentication of blockchain network transactions using a fungible token to mint a new non-fungible token asset. So what it says here is approved based on a work requirement. The token, for example, can be authenticated as having an inherent functional value. In this way, the blockchain network or token exchange can attest to the token not being a security, which would be subject to federal securities and regulations. Now, that's really interesting right here. Now, this was filed November 15th, 2019. I was only able to discover this recently. Now, here's some other information on it. It talks about KYC and AML attesting to the customer for anti-money laundering violations. And then here's where the really interesting part, and I'm going to read it again because I found this fascinating with all the NFTs and all the news with that coming out. It says, wherein the utility token is a fungible token and wherein at least one consumptive use includes using the fungible token to mint non-fungible tokenized digital asset. So they're basically saying, we know Forte Labs is a spring-funded company by Ripple to use these fungible tokens to mint new non-fungible tokenized assets. Very interesting what Forte is working on. Now, this is just a little teaser here of some information, and it also talks about identifying the attestation stored on the blockchain and other types of content for streaming digital content over the blockchain. So I don't want to get too deep into that. These patents are very difficult to read, and they're very difficult to really break down. I just wanted to let everyone know I was aware of that, and this idea of using fungible tokens to mint non-fungible tokens, which mean NFTs. So something's in the works there with Forte Labs. So we got to keep an eye out for that. Now, moving on, we're going to move into what David Schwartz thinks about the Flare network. And then after that, we'll move into PolySign and Codius. So here's the Flare network.
What Flare is doing is they're taking bits and pieces from many different blockchains, like Avalanche's consensus algorithm, and they're taking some of the payment and account ideas from XRP, and they're looking at some of the DeFi from Ethereum. They're trying to stitch that together. And what it's going to come down to is their judgment, whether they build a Frankenstein's monster or something that solves real problems. And I think one of the big advantages that they have is that they have an idea of what the use cases they're going to be targeting are. And they're like present day DeFi use cases that have kind of proven themselves. So if they can build a system that's really useful for that, I think that's important. So these are use cases, unlike NFTs. Like with NFTs, people don't seem to care that much that they're decentralized or censorship resistant. Like if you look at the big projects, nobody even knows or cares what blockchain they're built on. Like, right? All we care about is that we get a great user experience. But in the DeFi space, where you're talking about manipulating money, it's completely different. Like the infrastructure matters, and the fees matter. Like if you build a project on Ethereum, it's not just a matter of like, oh, people have to pay these high fees, but the fees are unpredictable. Like if I'm reliant on being able to submit a transaction to your project 3 months from now, I have no idea like how much that's going to cost.
Right.
And those are, so they're very focused on those real world problems. I'm hopeful that they'll be able to build something that like provides great solutions. They're really smart. They've taken on a pretty broad challenge, but I mean, they're a fantastic team.
Got it. And some folks that ask, what's the relationship between Ripple and Flare, or completely separate entities? Flare's doing their own thing, or are you guys helping build anything with them?
I mean, so we, before Ripple X, we had this thing called Spring with an X, and we invested in the Flare team, and we love what they're doing, but they're not. Just to be clear, like we don't tell them what to do, and they're not in some sense like committed to, I mean, they're committed to the XRP ledger from their own commitment, but we haven't like sworn them to loyalty in any way. Like they're going to build on the technologies that they think are best. Looking at some of the DeFi.
Okay, so you hear it right there from David Schwartz. He's basically putting his stamp of approval on what the Flare network team is building. Now remember, Flare Limited is the team that Ripple is backing and funding. The Flare network itself is a decentralized network, which uses the Ethereum virtual machine for smart contracts and uses the new Avalanche breakthrough consensus. So this is what makes Flare unique. And now just quickly, I just want to go into the main point that I want everyone to know about the Flare network and Spark token specifically that makes it unique from all the other tokens out there that are native to blockchains. The Spark token is able to earn yield for all users at no risk. So if you hold the Spark token, either you received it in an airdrop or you purchased it, you are able to delegate a detachable vote to a signal provider to earn more Spark rewards from the Flare Time Series Oracle, also known as the FTSO. This is the single most important thing to understand about the Spark token. It comes with yield at no risk. There is no other native blockchain token that allows every owner of that token to earn yield. And it's only a matter of time before the whole community realizes this and the market realizes this. That's one thing XRP doesn't give you, Bitcoin doesn't give you, Ethereum doesn't give you, Cardano doesn't give you, Polkadot, none of them give you that. You have to actually stake it with them. You don't lose possession of your actual Spark token to be able to earn rewards that compound on a daily or bi-daily basis to earn then more rewards. So the inflation mechanism goes to those who participate, and that participation allows for the decentralization of accurate price feeds that all smart contracts can interact with. That at the core is the most important thing to remember with the Spark token, and why, regardless of how speculation is in the market, it's going to drive a high demand and a high valuation over time that regular XRP, regular Bitcoin, regular Ethereum can't, because proof of work, all the rewards go to the miners. Proof of stake, they all go to the validators. With Flare Network, Spark token holders are the ones who are able to all earn the rewards equally. And you could spread your delegated votes out to different signal providers. Now, this is a special token. Basically, Spark is going to be not an ERC20 token. It's not an ERC 720, 1155. It is a new version of the Ethereum token with special features. A detachable vote to the FTSO and a detachable vote for governance. Now, that's just the one thing I want to make clear. He didn't say that in this video, but it's very important to note at the heart about the Spark token is it comes with yield at no risk. None of these other native blockchain tokens have that. Maybe some other dApp tokens But staking is not the same. You're risking. You're staking that token. You're giving up possession. With Spark, you're able to delegate the vote, earn more Spark, and also simultaneously use that if you like, or hold it in your wallet. Just wanted to make that clear because it's so important to understand. That's what makes the Spark token so valuable in the future. All right, so moving on. What I want to talk about here is what he says about Codius. Now, Codius was originally planned to be an open source project, and they rebooted it a second time in 2018, but they were not able to comply basically with the jurisdictional regulations. But this is the actual website, Codius.org, in 2015, 2016. This is from the Wayback Machine. And this is what it says. This is black and white. There's really no disputing this. This is factually what was on their website. And then we'll go into what this means after. So right here, it says, here to stay, Codius is used by Ripple Labs for banking and enterprise integrations. I think that says it right there. Now you listen to what David Schwartz says about Codius in the video clip. And I also just want to point out here from the Flare networks, because there is a connection here to Flare. Now, on the LinkedIn page of the founder of Singularity Finance, which is the video we did 2 days ago about the Singularity Finance out of Egypt, which is building the digital trade finance and payroll lending platform and identity, says, developing the Flare network, the smart contract platform for Ripple with scalable consensus and quantum proof encryption. And this is Toby Norfolk Thompson. And he worked at Barclays from 2017 to January 20th. He was there for 17 years. So Codius is a hosting protocol that could host different smart contract languages. So Codius could work with the Flare network. And Flare network was originally built on the Interledger protocol. So that doesn't mean that Codius, just because it's dead, like David Schwartz said in prior, is that's just the open source version. The proprietary version of whatever they wanted to create on RippleNet absolutely does exist, and it's how a lot of the things on RippleNet are done, but it's proprietary. You're not going to hear them come out and tell you Codius is used on RippleNet, but we clearly see in 2015 and 2016, it was right on the Codius website, them telling you that Ripple's using it for banking and enterprise integrations. It's a hosted solution. Now let's hear what he says originally about Codius.
Well, so the original idea behind Codius was to build a DeFi platform that did not have a native token, that could accept payment with any token, where you were basically paying for entities to run smart contracts using any token at all. And the idea was that if you had an automated platform where you could do that, then the people who would be actually running the smart contracts would generally not even know what smart contracts they were running. They would be chosen randomly, and they would have no incentive to try to game the contract, because the contract would be distributed. And we used some very clever cryptographic tricks to reduce the sort of pain point that you would have. So the pain point that you would have is, like, if you're writing a smart contract and you're actually paying for its execution, the more servers that run it, the more it's going to cost you if you're paying for their execution. But the fewer servers that run it, the more likely it is that someone might gain control of a small number of those, a small number of servers, but that's a large number of your servers, and that they could then, steal your funds because the keys would be distributed across those servers. And we came up with some very, very clever cryptography tricks using something called erasure coding that makes it much, much, much more difficult for someone to compromise the smart contract. And so that trade-off would not be as painful. So you could have a smart contract that paid for its own execution and could get the equivalent security of running on hundreds of servers without having to pay hundreds of servers to run it. I think we were kind of way ahead of our time with that idea. And I think that what everybody who's like tried to implement that has done is they've just put in their own native token. And part of that is because when you have your own native token, it does make some things easier. Like, for example, you can destroy it, you can create it, and that makes some of the economic modeling simpler. But also it's a way to monetize it. Like Codius, the way that you would monetize it would be by providing services to the ecosystem. There's no native token to monetize. And my thinking was that, like, if we were the company that built most of Codius, people would by default probably just use our services. Like, you need long-term data storage. Well, the one that like your toolkit uses by default is operated by Ripple. And so other people would run other services, and you might use multiple services, but there would be no reason for you not to use ours because, like, we would have a reputation that people would know about.
Now I wonder what he's talking about right there. Maybe RippleNet, where Ripple provides the software and the services to, and the toolkit. So that's what it sounds like to me. And I'm not going to go too deep into this, but I think it's pretty easy to see how you can put two and two together. That Ripple's patents include Codius in many of them. And it's not like they abandoned this tremendous idea of the potential. It just needed to be configured in the right way for the right use case. And that is RippleNet for now. Currently, if you go to Codius GitHub, it's being built for verifying receipts of interledger streaming payments. So that is up now, and it's function as a service in the cloud. They have built a new infrastructure for it, and it is, yes, being worked on. Just because David Schwartz wrote one comment saying that only one person's working on it doesn't mean it's not being configured in other ways. So please do not fall for that trap that some people in the community say this is dead. Far from dead. The vision of what Codius was trying to do has always been the end game for what Ripple is doing and why RippleNet is such a secret now. So just to show an example of what Codius's webpage says right now compared to how it's saying used by Ripple Labs for banking and enterprise integrations. Now, fast forward 5 years, and it says built-in payments. Codius applications can pay each other using any currency using Interledger. Interledger was needed to be built before Codius could be built to its full scalability. Also, there's many different configurations for Codius. I think we'll see it used in open payments and in other use cases. But now moving on from there, let's hear what David Schwartz has to say about PolySign and how excited he is. It sounds like it's coming soon.
What's PolySign about? Any connection to Ripple and then plans to work together? Things along those lines?
Yeah, I'm an investor, an advisor, and a board member of PolySign, and it's annoying to me that I can't talk about, but I will say that great things have been happening there, and even lately the pace has accelerated. One of the interesting things is, like, our primary focus, at least as we've been public about, is custody. It's like allowing people to hold cryptocurrency and do interesting things with it. And the amount of money that you can make in that field tends to go up or down with the value of cryptocurrency.
Right.
Because, like, if the total value of cryptocurrencies is low, then there's not much value in helping cryptocurrencies move around or allowing people to do interesting things with them. And so the bull market has been tremendously helpful to PolySign. It's helped us forge strategic alliances. And unfortunately, it's super exciting, and it's just frustrating to me that I can't, like, tell you what's going on. But I will say, Arthur Brito put together an incredible team. The employees are amazing. People who just love cryptocurrency and just love exploring what's going on with algos. We're doing really cool things, and I wish I could tell you about it soon. As soon as I can, I'm going to call up everybody who's ever asked me, and I'm going to say I can talk now. But yeah, I can't yet. It's kind of annoying. Sorry.
No problem. Well,
So he does say soon. He's really excited to talk about it here. And the video that I'm working on for PolySign just keeps getting deeper and deeper. So soon that will be released, but I'll tell you a couple things that it has to do with. Authentication of identity and authentication of paystring. And that's going to be a big part of all of this because these DeFi applications and these public blockchains for institutions to be able to use them, they need to verify who the counterparties are. So what Ripple and PolySign and Open Payments are really building is a way, and PayString is a way so that when these enterprises and institutions build applications for their customers to use DeFi products, they could verify who the counterparties are on the other side. And that's not happening on Ethereum. It's not happening on Polkadot. It's not happening on Cardano. The first platform or platforms with Flare and XRP Ledger that are going to be able to do that is where the flood of money is going to come into. So we're going to have this Goldilocks zone in the next year or two. Whoever can comply with those KYC AML, and yes, you're probably going to have identity attached to your wallet, but you could have it attached to your PayString where you could protect some of your privacy. You don't need to disclose your details to just sign up for a website. But if you want to send money or crypto back to Coinbase, they could verify that that's you, maybe because you have an account with Bitstamp, for example, and they could verify that's you sending the money back to them. And PolySign is the end-to-end infrastructure to allow all this. And we're going to have, just like Stellar has anchors, the gateways on the XRP ledger are the key. And I know a lot of people forget about those or ignore them and think they're dead. They are far from dead. Just like the XRP ledger's DEX is far from dead. You could see the narrative coming from David Schwartz, from Matt Hamilton, from RippleX, that just demoing the Ripple wallet, being able to use the DEX. The problem is they can't use it at scale with enterprises because they don't know who the counterparties are on the other side. And once that can be done and verified in a fast way using PayString, using PolySign, that's what's going to allow this to happen. And the whole vision was to connect the traditional markets to the crypto markets. Now, I think Trustline app is also going to be part of this because Trustline app is going to be regulatory compliant in 50 states. And that's going to allow you to link your bank account to that. And it will be like a credit network, but it also will be attached to Flare's DeFi ecosystem, where you'll have the decentralized crypto bank Probity, which will allow you to deposit your crypto and then earn interest on that. Or deposit your crypto and use it as collateral to borrow the RA stablecoin. Now, once you have that stablecoin, you could bring that over to the XRP ledger and use it as a second decentralized asset to XRP. The XRP ledger is missing a second decentralized asset. Issued currencies are not decentralized assets on the ledger. So that will allow other assets to trade against something else besides XRP. Now keep in mind, RA, the stablecoin, is collateralized by FXRP. So in a sense, it is still XRP. And we have to go beyond thinking that stablecoins are just like USDC or Tether. They're not. Those are centralized stablecoins. A decentralized stablecoin is like this RA, which you're going to deposit FXRP to back that. And now it's a very complicated system. And I did a video on it. I'll post it in the description below and at the end of the video. So now I want to move on to what is the discussion right now between all these private ledgers. So I want everyone to understand here, and it's very important, that these are private instances of the XRP ledger. They still have to sync to the public blockchain. There is no other XRP. There is no other XRP price. Those instances, or federated side chains, as David Schwartz and Matt Hamilton have called them, they could have their own private transactions going on, but they need to still sync to the public XRP ledger. So there's no possible way that XRP can have another price. Doesn't work like that. That's not how markets work. And knowing how automated market maker liquidity pools work, we don't need XRP at a certain price in the private ledger. It just doesn't work like that. These are markets, and the value of XRP will come up from more of its use and more utility and more use cases. And yes, we're stuck with this court case right now with the SEC, but Flare Networks is going live. Everyone who mints FXRP and brings it onto the Flare network is going to be inherently locking up XRP from being on the trading market and then used in Flare Finance, in the farm pools, liquidity pools, and also in Probity, the decentralized bank. Now you're going to be able to earn daily Spark airdrops just for bringing your XRP onto Flare in the form of FXRP. Yes, you'll pay a small fee, but this is going to drive the price of XRP up because you're going to be less likely to sell even if the price of XRP goes up because you're earning daily Spark every day. You're getting an airdrop. And this includes Doge holders. This includes Litecoin. This includes XLM. You'll all be earning daily airdrops of Spark. And this is to incentivize the unlocking of this billions and not trillions of dollars in value eventually onto the Flare network. Now, all these F assets get superpowers. Superpowers that XRP alone does not have. It doesn't have smart contracts. It doesn't have yield attached to it. And then you have Spark, which could also be used as collateral and comes with daily yield because you could delegate your vote at no risk. You could bring your XRP over as FXRP at no risk. The only thing you're trusting is the protocol itself, Flare. And now Flare protocol is going through a massive security audit as we speak. And that will be finished up shortly. And then we will see a test net for the Trustline app and the Probity decentralized crypto bank, which that is the basis of the global decentralized stablecoin that I did a video on a couple weeks ago. Now, RA means golden. So that is an extension of David Schwartz's stablecoin proposal. So everything I'm saying here over the past couple weeks is all based on factual information. And they've all come to play out. We're not basing our information here on just wild speculation. That includes me, the whole DeFi Standard team, and like the video that PattyXRP and I did yesterday. It's based on information that's technical, factual. The escrow can't be confiscated because, one, it's cryptographically locked on the ledger. Ripple doesn't own that aspect. Two, if the release of it did get confiscated, the validators, 80%, which is more than Ripple controls, can burn it. So before we speculate on things like that, we need to know the technical facts. And at this channel, we'll always try to do that. And just the same goes for Codius. I'm only basing that on factual information. Let's go here to something about Codius that was said by the Flare CTO almost 2 years ago. What does he say? We think of Codius as an infrastructure provider option like AWS or Google. So Codius is always an option to deploy a Flare node to. The Flare is a virtual machine agnostic. We're particularly big fans of Agoric, though in terms of future support, 11/5/2019, a year and a half ago. Now, that goes to show that it's not that Codius and Flare are in competition. Codius is the hosting protocol. Flare is the network that operates the smart contracts, or the Codius nodes, which would be Flare nodes. Now, Agoric is another project funded by Ripple. So keep an eye out for that. That's on Cosmos, and that will allow further interoperability support. So I just want everyone to, you don't have to understand all these different details here about Codius, Flare nodes, Agoric, but just pay attention to these words and keep an eye out for the future, because Flare can use other virtual machines in the future. It initially is starting with the Ethereum virtual machine, which is Turing complete, and right now is the standard for smart contracts. It's not Polkadot, it's not Cardano, it's not Cosmos, it's Ethereum, smart contracts. The problem there is the major gas fees that come from every transaction. If it's NFTs, if it's DeFi, it's just not even feasible to be used at scale because of the fees. Now they're going to be going through a massive transition here to revamp to Ethereum 2.0. And now they're asking people to lock up their Ethereum for 2 years, hoping that this beacon chain will work. And there's no guarantee on that at all. No guarantee. Also, news I'd like to just recognize is that Bitrue is now going to be a data signal provider for the Flare time series Oracle. So now this dynamic ecosystem is being built up for the Flare network and of all these signal providers. And the more signal providers we have, the more accurate price feeds. And why this is so important is that smart contract networks like Flare, like Cardano, like Polkadot, like Ethereum need price feeds, and they need accurate ones. None of those networks, except the Flare network, has built in at the infrastructure layer, which means the core layer, decentralized price feeds that all smart contracts can interact with. So those other networks have to reach out to Trust Chainlink, Trust Band. With Flare, the signal provider maybe can get their price feeds from Chainlink. But you know what? They got to still run through the Flare time series Oracle and be truncated to the most accurate. And you'll be able to delegate your FTSO votes to different signal providers. And we hope in the future that there'll be options to see how accurate that signal provider is, how much commission they charge, and then we could delegate accordingly based on our accuracy of the price feeds and how much commission we want to pay. Everyone's situation will be different. Also expect exchanges to just say, hey, just stake with us and we'll pay you a yield. So there'll be options for all different levels of participants. But it is very important to understand to participate early. You're only trusting the protocol if you're delegating your vote or you're minting FXRP. Secondly, another thing I've been seeing going around, and I want to clear this up. If you want to mint FXRP, you do not, and I repeat, you do not need to stake Spark to do that. You mint FXRP, you pay a fee, somebody else puts up the collateral. You cannot put up your own collateral for minting FXRP. Only thing you could do is mint FXRP and you pay a fee. You don't put up collateral for that. So I've seen a lot of misinformation going around. I don't know where that's coming from, but that is a very important thing to note. And you earn daily Spark airdrops just for minting that FXRP. All right, we're going to wrap it up here in a second. There was one more thing I want to go. So Trustline. So Trustline is building a blockchain community bank on the XRP ledger. And now this Trustline network is also going to have its own token called the Trustline Credit Network token. We haven't gotten the information on that yet, but it's coming. The Trustline app allows you to save and spend using Probity, deposit your crypto in high yield savings account, or borrow the RA stablecoin to pay anyone in pay or by SMS. So now you could pay even if you're not online using SMS. It's the same concept as fiat savings account and credit cards, but without the middleman. And Crypto Newsflash happened to display my video at the end here, which was very nice of them. So that's something, the testnet is coming out in the next few weeks on that. So definitely keep an eye out. In the next few weeks, that will be coming out, and then we could all test that. The Flare Finance beta is currently on hold right now till they upgrade to Costin 2. So keep an eye out for that. Oh, we also got a sneak peek, just a very small sneak peek on what the Probity Vault management will look like. And that's basically what it is, a vault where you could deposit your crypto. And then there's different options of if you just want to earn interest or if you want to borrow against that with a stablecoin. There's one other thing here. It's Sparkles. So Sparkles NFT is going to be minting NFTs on the Flare network. Launch in Q2 2021. So very exciting about that as well. And if you like to join our Patreon, we opened up a new tier, which is unlimited, and you get 2 Zoom calls every month with Mickey B. Fresh and the DeFi team. So that is brand new. Unfortunately, the other categories are sold out at the moment. And if you'd like, go through my Twitter. I'm at Mr. Freshtime on Twitter. And you could go through all this information that I have posted here about the stablecoin, David Schwartz's videos, the Trustline Network, and everything else that I post consistently on a daily basis. I'm Mickey B. Fresh, and I'm out.